What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. Today we're going to be reviewing Bati Batt's album Fall From Grace, which dropped back in February. I'm very late doing this review. This album is absolutely amazing. I think it's a great album. Now, this album was a little bit delayed alongside of Portraits of Horror. If you don't know about Low Key's Portraits of Horror, you can go check out that review to learn more about it. The singles for Fall From Grace were dropping alongside of the singles for Loke's Portraits of Horror. And no offense to Loke, because I think his singles were amazing, and I think Portraits of Horror are amazing, but when these singles were dropping, I always kind of gravitated to Bati Batt's singles. I think she was doing a really good job. I was really kind of blown away by the singles as they were coming out. She was doing a lot of vocalizing, a lot of singing. And if you don't know, it is a lot of metal. There is a lot of screaming, but she breaks it up very wonderfully and does a lot of singing. And I think she does a fantastic job with the singing. And one of the things that I had said, because I had done I can't remember if I did like a review. I know I did a reaction for, I believe it was Paparazzi that I did a reaction for. And then also turned around and did like a listening jam out for The Serpent's Eyes. But one of the comparisons that I'd made, and maybe it was just a comment on Instagram, is it was kind of reminiscent for me of Fear Factory, because Fear Factory has that kind of style where there's a build and then there's a release, and that's the singing. Fear Factory always kind of has had that in their music, and I feel like that's super duper similar in Fall From Grace. Again, Bati Batt absolutely fucking killed it. Now, if you were following along with all of the singles, or if you weren't, the final album only had 2 additional singles, and then it had all the ones, or, it had 2 additional songs as well as all the singles that had been previously released. I do have a physical CD, and I do want to show it, and I do want to bring it up, because the only disappointment that I had about this album, and I want to be honest about this just because, is once I received my CD, there's a cover, and that's it. You flip it over, and it's blank. You open it up, and it's blank. I honestly met that with a lot of disappointment, just because the artwork on the front looked really good. They've dropped some really cool artwork alongside the singles. They've also done a couple of other really cool Bati Batt type designs that they've released on t-shirts. It left me really excited to get this, seeing all that artwork, and then to get this and for it just to be just a cover and nothing else. I have to honestly say I was super disappointed with that. I have ideas of what I want to do to this. I do have a Cricut, and I honestly would love to go try to find some blood font styles to put the track list on the back. Obviously, I don't know anything about the production on who did this. But I would also love to maybe write something kind of like a poem, if you will, about falling from grace, or, just something poetic like that, and put that in here. And then, just put Bati Batt, put her logo here. I have ideas of what I want to do to this. I just haven't really done them yet. But yeah, that is one thing I wanted to point out. So if you are a fan and you have not bought the CD, that is a little disclaimer that I will put out there, that you're basically just going to get a disc. And I don't want to say not to buy it, but you honestly would probably be better just getting the digital version of the album, just because there's not much to it other than you would have the artwork. But again, if you're somebody who does custom shit, I would definitely say absolutely pick up the CD and do some custom shit to your CD. Because again, I'm brainstorming things I want to do to it, because I do love to customize my CDs every so often, to the dismay of other people. But I do want to go through and I want to play all the tracks. And disclaimer to any rap fan or horrorcore fans out there that, again, this is a metal album. So if it's not your cup of tea, you probably didn't make it very far into this review. And if you made it this far, I'm probably about to lose you. But let's run through the track list real quick and play everything for you. Now, let's go over favorite tracks. First of all, this album, front to back, absolutely love it. I think the runtime is like 20 some minutes to 30 minutes. It's a perfect, I think a perfect length, especially for this project. Again, front to back, absolutely love it. My standout tracks, this is a little bit shorter, so I think I only want to give you guys 3 of my favorite tracks. And this one's really kind of tough. Now, again, when I did my reaction for Paparazzi and I did my little listening jam out for The Serpent's Eyes, like, I was absolutely in love with that song. And that is still the case today. But honestly, it's not my favorite song anymore. But let's go through my top 3 tracks. Obviously, The Serpent's Eyes is a top track. Paparazzi is a top track. And my favorite song on the album is Offering. The way that this song is put together is abso-fucking-lutely great. I know they probably don't have any desire to do this, but this is something that I feel like if they were to release it officially as a single and like try to get it on the radio, I think they could have a hit song on their hands with Offering. I could hear that shit on the radio. And in the past, I've said that about songs and nothing ever became of it. But one time that I had that thought was with Jelly Roll, Son of a Sinner. I was like, man, this could be fucking played on country radio and he'd have a fucking hit song. Fast forward 6 months, Son of a Sinner was on the radio and it was a fucking hit song, and now he's a superstar. Again, I don't think that that's really a goal that Low-Key and Bati Batt may or may not have. I can't speak for them. But again, if they release that as a single, and I think if they were to get radio play for that song, they would have a hit song on their fucking hands, because Offering is fucking good. So I want to go back and I want to talk about The Serpent's Eyes. I have already really kind of talked about this before in that little jam out that I did for The Serpent's Eyes. But what I love about Serpent's Eyes so much is during the breakdown of the song. There's a breakdown during it where the beat changes. You get like this, and it really kind of reminds me of the Terminator 2 theme song. And Terminator 2 is easily in like my top 5 of favorite movies. I absolutely love Terminator 2. I think it's a great story, and the music is such a huge part of it as well. Like fucking seeing the Terminator getting lowered down into that fucking molten steel, and you just hear the theme song then over the fucking like credits and shit. Absolutely love that song, and there's parts of Serpent's Eyes that really kind of makes me think about that. There is also another part of this where you hear like this, almost like I want to say it's like a keyboard. I'm fucking doing a terrible job like making these noises. But it also kind of is reminiscent to me of like some of the Dragon Ball Z music that Bruce Faulconer did. For those who don't know, I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. You can barely see it, but right above my head here, there is an actual set of Dragon Balls that I have. I've been a huge Dragon Ball Z fan for many, many years. I've been a Dragon Ball Z fan longer than I've been a Juggalo. So some of the music in there, and quite particularly, if I was going to pinpoint a specific song that Bruce Faulconer did for Dragon Ball Z that this reminds me of, is the PyCon theme. You can go look that up, I think on YouTube. And you can definitely go look up like the best of Dragon Ball Z. They have like whole soundtracks, like 6 volumes of them, of music that Faulconer did for Dragon Ball Z, for the dub, if you will. A lot of the hardcore Dragon Ball Z fans don't really care for Faulconer's music, but I absolutely love it. But there's elements of that in Serpent's Eyes that I think it kind of hits on that nostalgia for me. The fact that Terminator 2 is my favorite, one of my favorite movies. The fact that I'm such a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. And the music in Dragon Ball Z was such an attributing factor of why I love that show so much. I feel like that breakdown of Serpent's Eyes just pulls on those little nostalgia hits for me. And that's why I get like this hit of dopamine from it. So I absolutely love Serpent's Eyes. And I wanted to talk about that. And then Paparazzi is a really fucking good song. This is another one that I think would do very well on the radio, but maybe not quite as well as Offering. I don't know. I don't know what it takes to make a hit song. I don't. I just know when shit gets played on the radio and it hits, man, it fucking hits. And I could see Paparazzi doing that. It's a really good song. about basically having people that are like so critical of you in your life and how you need to be fucking perfect and shit like that. Like they analyze you and watch you like fucking paparazzi. So another really great track. Again, this whole album, absolutely great. I'm really happy that she put Better Off Dead on here. Better Off Dead was a single she released, I think back in 2021 is when that came out. And that I think was right off the heels of I'm gonna butcher the fuck out of this. Virago. Her first album, Virago. I'm gonna say Virago. Virago sounds right. Yeah, Virago. She released that single, and it was very singy, very beautifully sung, if I might add. So I was very happy to see that put on here, and I feel like it was a good shift and a breaking point on the album as well. Like I was very intrigued on its placement, but I think it's a good little like midway, take a break from the metal sounds, which Machete kind of already offered that, and then you get right back into offering. I thought it was really, really well placed. But if you have listened to Fall from Grace, tell me down below what are your favorite tracks. If you haven't listened to the album and you are a fan of metal or you're a fan of rock, go give the album a listen and then come back and tell me what you thought about it, what your favorite songs are from it. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.